BYU Food to Go, the MVP of your next event. Expectations back on topic on BYU Sports Nation based on the projected Big 12 standings that we had come out over the weekend. This is wild. These are the K-Ford ratings.
Can we just throw this up and look at all these numbers?
The K-Ford ratings. We're not going to give you everything, but we will tell you that BYU...
This isn't what I was asking for, but I do like this graphic.
The most likely win percentage in terms of games won in Big 12 play is at 29% in the 2 wins column, Jarom. 2 wins for BYU.
That is the most likely amount of wins.
The most likely amount of wins according to the K-Ford ratings.
Yeah.
Just above 3 wins at 27%, but you get to 4 Big 12 wins, only a 16% chance. Jarom, if you want a magical season, we thought, hey, winning 6 games in the Big 12, that'd be a match. 1% chance. BYU has a 4% chance of winning no games, according to K-Ford.
That high?
So, with that in mind, this has probably altered your expectations. It certainly has altered mine. Would you rather BYU football's preseason expectations be high or low?
Well, preseason, for the merits of this show, high. Because it's way more fun when we think BYU is going to be good.
Think about the build-up to last season.
Last year was fun.
Really fun.
That was the most excited I think I ever was or expected BYU to be coming out of a season. This year it's low, though, because BYU is going to the Big 12. But, no one's saying, 4 wins for BYU. There's some 4.5. There's some 5.5, right? You and I are in the 6 or 7 range here. 6.5 is probably fair, right? Listen, high would be fun for the show, but for the reality of the situation, low is better for BYU. I love that stat that came out, and unfortunately I was gone the day it was discussed because it was validating of what I talked about for a long time, which is BYU's better as an underdog. They just are. They have the most underdog in Vegas wins of anybody.
In the last 5 years.
The last 5 years.
10-8.
BYU is better as a dog. We can quantify it now with that number. BYU, emotionally and its attitude, just functions better when no one thinks they can do it. When BYU is ranked 12th and goes into Oregon, that is a dangerous situation, as we saw last year, not only because Oregon's good, but now they're up for the game in a way that they weren't going to be up for the game because BYU's 12th and so on and so forth. BYU at some point in the future needs to manage success better, but until then, I would rather have them low, because BYU functions better in its motivation, attitude, and work ethic for whatever reason. Even when you're ranked and you play a top 3 team, you can win that game, but it's no one thought we could do it. Well, you were ranked against Miami and Oklahoma in 90 and 09, and you won, and yes, it was an upset, but
number 16, number 20, slouch. Respectively.
You're no slouch. You're capable. You have a Heisman winner or contender at quarterback.
I think it was because Vegas had set those lines at, I think in one instance it was BYU was a 17-point dog against Oklahoma, which is wild as a ranked team.
BYU was 10-3 walking in, ranked 16th.
And BYU was a 2-touchdown plus team. Underdog at home against Miami as well.
That one makes sense. You don't know BYU's that good yet. They had a good 89. Ty puts up 70 points against Utah the year before and so on and so forth. 09, it's BYU won 10 games the year before and returned a lot of pieces. Long answer, I would like low.
Okay.
I like low.
I want to be able to be like a kid on Christmas Eve or as a child the night before your birthday. You have these visions of grandeur in your mind, for better or worse. Yeah. Because
most time it's worse.
Most
time you don't actually get.
Let's face it. Yeah. More often than not, your expectations of what is in those boxes when you are a kid on Christmas Eve, or when your presents are out and you're looking at as the birthday celebration happens. Man, I hope this is what it is, and if it's not, then you're oh, I'm happy because it's my birthday, but I kind of really wanted this. Or, yeah, it's Christmas and it's super fun.
Let's take the guessing away and just declare what you want. Can we just, to my children, you're not watching, never mind.
I was really hoping for this. Not to say I didn't have fantastic Christmases or birthdays as a child, because I did, but it's hard to match the expectations when you're 7 or 8 years old of what could possibly be in those boxes.
That's why I just need to tell your parents which one.
I feel like fans, in large part, are kind of like kids on Christmas Eve. we tell ourselves like, I'll manage my expectations, but really, you're looking at that box going, what if it's a 10-win season? What if it's
Ain't nobody saying that for this year.
national ranking? You'd be surprised how many people are actually thinking, what if?
Well, what if is silly. Yeah, what if is
It's
no.
9 or 10 wins for BYU.
What if?
You're one of the Big 12. Okay. So it's more fun. It's more fun to have high expectations.
sure.
It's more fun to just dream about these incredible presents in the form of a magical season.
The most fun is winning.
The safest is the route that you have gone. And frankly, what I have gone. I thought my expectations were relatively moderate, going, 6.5 is probably where I'd set the line. And thinking that 7, but people are like, oh my gosh, you're crazy. 7 wins? That's way too high. Like, oh, okay.
And maybe it is. I hope.
All right.
I hope that's not the case. I hope BYU's like an 8-win team.
I'm looking at these K-Ford ratings. Jarom, BYU wins, traditionally speaking, how many of their Power 5 games? 40%.
Yeah. Thank you, Cougar Stats, for that.
40%. They played 10 Power 5 games this year. So based on what
4 and
BYU
6,
has always
plus
done,
2
you're 6-6.
non-P5 games.
Am I
6 and 6.
crazy? Am I thinking that the present is going to be better than it actually is?
Well, is BYU more prepared to do this than in the 70s when they were playing quote unquote P5? So the 80s or the 90s or the early 2000s? 1 gajillion% yes. Independence has prepared BYU for this. BYU's never been more prepared as a program to play this kind of schedule.
Amen.
Ever.
The build-up for 10 years to this.
It doesn't, 12 in fact. It doesn't mean BYU's going to dominate or something. I just mean BYU's not running into something they have no clue about. BYU is more prepared to be a Power 5 team than any invited G5 team of the past 15 years when all of expansion happened around 2010, 11, 12, right? With that said, BYU's got to answer the bell. I get why the expectations are low. BYU lost its primary quarterback, running back, receiver, left tackle, and defensive coordinator, notably. This makes sense, and it's okay. BYU's in the perfect spot, Spence. No one thinks they can do it.
They've been a winner as an underdog in the last 5 years.
I'm not saying BYU's going to win the Big 12. I'm just saying expectations are low, and if BYU somehow gets to like 8 wins, that's a pretty good season. And again, it's the first time you're walking into the Big 12. Don't have to blow the doors off quite yet. In a couple of years, would love to get to the point where we're like, BYU's in the hunt for the conference championship.
If my expectations are too high, then so be it.
Too high.
So be it. If I have the line at 6.5 and that's too high, fine.
Again, this is one of the things we're going to tell you. We will never say BYU's not going to a bowl game. Mainly because we're paid by Brigham Young University. But also, we always believe BYU will make a bowl game. Always.
BYU
always
only missed a bowl game.
It's not even hard. Win
once.
4 of 10 non-G5 and FCS games.
They only missed a bowl game once in Independence. One time. And it was the worst season in 50 years.
And it was worth it because we got the Cougar, Zach Wilson. It was worth that season. 2020, 2021. That was because of getting Zach and Aaron Roderick.
Would you rather BYU football's preseason expectations be high or low?
Who wants them high? Tell me.
I do.
I want them high too, but realistically, no.
I'm being told mine are too high.
I think BYU just functions better as a team when they're low. Like if we tell BYU they're so good, last year happened. That was tough.
Michael Burns on Twitter says, we all have high expectations, except maybe Jarom. You literally wrote that. Except we can't help it. But I love everyone outside the nation having low expectations. Okay?
You have high expectations. What define high?
Outside BYU Sports Nation, I believe is what he's saying.
Yeah, of course we want.
It makes the season fun when BYU exceeds the rankings. Hashtag BYUSN on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram to join in.
Yeah. What do you want? Do you want a great preseason or a more enjoyable season?